To solve a quadratic equation by factoring, it needs to be in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a is the leading coefficient. Knowing what the leading coefficient is really determines what kind of method we're going to use to factor. Here we look and we see a is 3, so a is not 1. We're going to do the Criss Cross method right now, which is my favorite method for problems where a is not equal to 1. Underneath the 3x squared, we're going to put two factors of 3x squared, so 3x times 1x. Under 32, we're going to put two factors of 32, so how about 8 and 4? Now we multiply across the diagonals, put the work over here to test it out, see if we get the correct numbers. Okay, to multiply to give me a negative 32. You may be thinking about, what about this negative? 4 times 8 does not give me negative 32. When you multiply to get a negative, one of those had to be positive, one of the terms had to be negative. So one of these has to be positive, one of them has to be negative. In order to get negative 20x, which is what we're trying to do with the sum of these two terms, the bigger one needs to be negative. So if I do positive 8x minus 12x, I get negative 4x. Some of you may be saying, well, why don't we just do negative 8x minus 12x, and then we'll get negative 20, because a negative times a negative doesn't give me a negative. So this is not going to actually work. But what if I switch the order? Instead of 8 and 4, I'm going to try 4 and 8. Test it again by multiplying across the diagonals. 24x and 4x. Remember, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. The bigger one has to be negative. So if I do positive 4x minus 24x, that is indeed negative 20x. All right, this sign shifts to the left. This sign shifts to the left. And my factors are as follows. Read straight across, 3x plus 4, 1x minus 8 is equal to 0. Now you're done factoring, but you still need to solve by using the zero product property. The zero product property states that if a times b equals 0, then a equals 0 and or b equals 0. So make this factor equal to 0, and then we will solve. 3x plus 4 equals 0. Subtract 4. We get 3x equals negative 4. Sorry, it's having trouble focusing. Divide by 3. X equals negative 4 over 3. You can leave it as a fraction. And this factor, I'll put it underneath, kind of running out of room, sorry about that. X minus 8 equals 0. Add 8 to both sides. X equals 8. So here are my two solutions, negative 4 over 3 and 8. And then we can test this by putting them into the calculator, plugging them in for x. 3 times negative 4 over 3 squared minus 20 times negative 4 over 3 minus 32 is supposed to equal 0. Let's test it. 3 parentheses negative 4 divide 3, square that, minus 20 parentheses negative 4 divide 3 minus 32. We do indeed get 0. 0 equals 0. Therefore, negative 4/3 is indeed a solution. Now plug in 8 to check. This should equal 0. Let's test it. All right, 0 equals 0. 8 is also a solution. This is when we factor where a is not equal to 1, and we're using the crisscross method for solving quadratic equations.